Hello, my family and I are looking for sex. Schweinhund. Hello, huge movie fanatic Nate coming at you to review National Lampoon's European Vacation. I'm pretty sure my dad and I saw this movie in the theater. Obviously, I was too young to see the first one in the theater, especially since it was rated R, this one being rated PG-13. What's so cool about this movie is it's rated, the first one's rated R, and this one's rated PG-13, and this one has more tits in it than the first one, which is really fun. So anyway, I'm coming at you to review this movie, as I already said, and yeah, I'm pretty sure my dad and I saw this in the theater, and what a time it was. Now, I've never been, if you've seen the review I uploaded before this one, my review of National Lampoon's Vacation, I've never been a fan of this movie. This movie's always rubbed me the wrong way, and I think I may have said this in my review that I did last year for Christmas Vacation. If I didn't say it, I'm saying it now. I don't know what it is about this movie that rubs me the wrong way. I hate, or I guess that's a strong word, I extremely dislike the Audrey they got for this movie. Her face looks like she's 45 years old. I don't know why, I don't know who, no, nothing against the girl who plays Audrey, but who the hell chose her to be Audrey? This is my second favorite Rusty. The Rusty, the guy who plays Rusty, is okay in this movie. Much better Rusty than Audrey, in my opinion, is an Audrey. But this movie always, I don't know, I think a lot of it has to do with it just being in a foreign land and just, uncomfortable. And ever since I saw it, it was the same thing. And I rewatched these two movies. I didn't mention in the last review, but I just rewatched both of these I think it was yesterday or the day before. And same thing, I don't know if it's just being in the foreign lands that just is an uncomfortable feeling and stuff like that. First off the bat, and ever since I saw it and up until now, same thing forever, I've always hated the opening is it the show called Pig in a Poke? The scene, at the game show scene where they actually are, dressed, where all the contestants are dressed up as pigs, and the show, the game show where they actually win the European Vacation on. I've always hated that scene. Now it's not funny to me. The pedophile host who's French kisses Audrey and grabs her ass and stuff. I thought it's not funny. Kissing your wife and kissing your daughter even more is just it's nasty to me. I've never thought that was funny one bit. I always hated the Pig in the Poke scene. It was just an attempt to be funny, like so many what I call corporate comedies, which in a lot of ways I call these National Lampoon's Vacation movies, even from the very first one, kind of the start, the beginning of what I'd go on to call the corporate comedies and stuff like that, But because having grown up, like I said on the review of the first Vacation movie, having grown up with it, it's the first one, it's just a little more near and dear to my heart. But what the irony is, I grew up with this one too. But it doesn't matter, because this one I really don't like. The Pig in the, starting off with that game show scene was just, that didn't help, But I think the main thing about it is just because it's not in, it's not in the country I'm familiar with, and everyone speaks different language, and no one speaks, it's just, yeah. So European Vacation I've never really liked. I thought the humor, I don't know. The humor seems more forced to me than in the original. John Hughes is credited as doing, having written the story, and he's the first out of two buildings of the screenplay writing. But I like to think that the things I don't like about this movie, which I guess is mostly everything the other writer did, particularly like the ending, very much with the ending of the first movie where Clark goes crazy and takes a BB gun and holds the Wally World hostage, or forces them to take him on rides. I hate the end of this movie when you got the thieves and kidnap Beverly D'Angelo, and that whole bit where they're gonna all of a sudden, she finds out that her tape that she did, which I think is really ironic, she does this sexy dance, and because it's PG-13, we don't get to see anything. And, that tape gets, whatever, distributed it all over Europe or whatever, or at least, yeah, probably all over Europe. And you know, I guess because my parents were getting a divorce at the time we saw this movie, I guess I always hated that part. The irony is, as an adult watching the scene, you know, they're, you know, Clark and Ellen, is it Ellen? I can't remember. I think so. Well, you know, the Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo characters are only at, you know, kind of mad at each other for a very short period of time in the movie. But when I was, you know, growing up watching it, it just seemed like forever, you know, that they were, you know, at odds with each other or whatever. And of course, then she gets kidnapped and Clark becomes the hero. You know, that's so stupid to me. And you know, biking into the convertible and just, and this stupid running gag of this damn guy from England who, you know, gets hit by the bike, and then he keeps on, you know, the door cast, you know, gets caught in the, or I mean the cast gets caught in the door. And I just, the comedy in this movie I feel like is very forced, and I want to, you know, I like to think that, you know, most of it isn't John Hughes writing, but regardless, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, not a huge fan. This is my least favorite of the first three vacation movies. I only really count the first three as being existing. Anything past that doesn't, you know, in my opinion, doesn't exist. I mean, to say nothing about the most recent one, but Vegas Vacation's not really watchable. So I like to say that, you know, there's just a nice, you know, trilogy of vacation movies, you know, Vacation, European, and also Christmas, which I've already reviewed. So this will wind up, obviously, my review of vacation movies probably for the rest of whatever time. But yeah, you know, really uncomfortable. The movie's uncomfortable for me, and I guess it's because they're in just Europe and foreign lands and shit. And I guess just the way that the people in Europe are portrayed, like the fat, slobby, you know, the guy who runs the hotel in England or whatever. And I guess maybe just the way Europe and the people in Europe are portrayed in this movie just makes it very standoffish. And I don't know, I guess just because they're not going, you know, driving across the good old US of A, not that US of A is good, you know, but I just, you know how I like, you know, the first one so much, maybe because it's relatable, because I've, you know, my dad and I have gone on cross-country trips like that as well. Maybe I don't like this because it's not relatable, because me and my dad have not, you know, traveled to Europe. So maybe maybe families who have, you know, people who have actually done this can relate to this movie like I relate to the first one. It's very possible, but I'd say the biggest reason why I don't like this movie is just because of the uncomfortable, you know, just being out of your element feel of being in a, of course, you know, of the movie taking you to all these foreign countries and stuff like that. And like I say, just the portrayal of the people in the countries, I think, is just off-putting. It's just, I don't know, whatever. It's almost like you're on a different planet. I mean, I'm just, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going on and on. Don't get me wrong, there's funny stuff, there's, you know, there's funny Chevy Chase stuff in it, there's, you know, funny stuff, and, you know, there's more tits than there are in the first one. But because the tits aren't really exposed in a necessarily sexual way, I guess I could get away with it in PG-13, like you know, the dancers just basically in exercise gear, just dancing or doing exercises, and then the girl just like opening up her top for Rusty. And when I was a kid, I just used to rewind that over and over. Actually, I did the other night too. So, we're just going to give this movie, which I really don't like very much, we're going to give it 1 3/4 stars out of 4. And like I say, it's not saying that there's not classically funny Chevy Chase stuff. There is. But the movie as a whole, just like I say, I really dislike Audrey in this, in the way that they have the character like being so conscious about what she's eating, and that horrible scene on the plane when they all have a dream, and she has this horrible, I hate that scene too, this horrible dream where she's just being fed all this shit and just almost explodes and gets all fat. And really dislike this Audrey. I don't know, it's just, you know, my personal, I guess it's my whatever. So I guess that'll do it. I'm really kind of getting depressed talking about this movie, to be honest. So before I get committed, or go commit myself to the loony bin, I better stop reviewing this movie. So thank you very much for watching my review of European Vacation. I guess we'll see you next time.